What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Revgear Thai Original Training Gloves 2.0. Alright folks, as always I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today I have the Revgear Thai Original Training Gloves 2.0 version, and I'm very excited about this review because I reviewed the original version, and soon after that Revgear reached out to me and asked if I would review the second version that was coming out. And I, of course, said yes. So I got these slightly before they were commercially available to the public. So I've had them for, I believe, about 4 to 5 months at this point. I also have their shin guards that I'm going to be reviewing in the near future as well. But I was very excited because I've reviewed these and I gave them an S tier 10 out of 10 because, in my words, these were the best Thai glove that I personally use because they're light, very protective, and for me, they were a Western style boxing glove made for Thai boxing, and I love those features about it. So I was curious if they could improve upon it or change it any different way, or if it was going to be more or less the same glove with just a couple twinges here or there. They did make an entirely different glove from the way it operates and performs, but it's still really good. But the question that most people ask me is it as good as the original here? And we're going to get to the bottom of that by the end of the review. Revgear is a brand that is near and dear to my heart because I've been using them ever since I was 14 and started in MMA. I've used tons of their MMA gloves, boxing gloves. I've punched their punching bags over the years. I've had their mouth guards. I've used their grappling dummies. I've used everything that you can think of by Revgear, and they've just been one of those brands that was an integral part of the beginning of MMA. You got guys like Eric Paulson, Mark De La Grate that use Revgear stuff to this day and help design it as well. So I think that's really cool that some really high-level guys are helping in the design of the gears that you're using. So I'm really excited to see how these work. Now, if you're wondering what the Thai Original really means, it's not because it's in the shape of a Thai glove, it's because their Thai Original line is all handmade in a factory in Bangkok, Thailand, which is absolutely awesome. Some brands do that. Revgear's been doing that for years. And again, that's because Mark De La Grate years ago said, you want a good Thai glove, it's got to be made in Thailand. And that's basically what you got. So some of their other model gloves, like their Sentinel series, is primarily made in Pakistan. The Thai line is all made in Thailand. I can tell too, and you can tell as well by the feel of the leather, because everything is Thai leather, Thai padding. It's through and through a Thai glove from the stitching as well. So that's awesome. And so I'm excited again to see if they change anything. Now, the cool thing about Revgear too, guys, is that if you need anything combat sports related, from boxing, MMA, kickboxing, they got you covered. And of course, now you have all the Thai line. The Thai Original line also has some shin guards. They have Thai pads. I believe they also have knee pads. I could be wrong there. I know Revgear has knee pads, but I don't know if they're the Thai Original knee pads. I could be wrong. But they have a lot of different stuff from beginner to pro listed right on their website, and really good quality, competitive, affordable prices too. And Revgear has been around for a while. My biggest compliment to Revgear is everything I've used by them has lasted me for years. I had a pair of gloves that I used from the age of 14 to 20 that I finally had to retire, and then I had a pair of gloves or of shin guards by them that I used from the age of 14 to 21, and I had to get rid of those because I didn't even get rid of them. They were stolen from me at an event. I used them in one of my amateur MMA fights, and someone stole them from me afterwards, and I never saw them again. And those were the Defenders. I love those things, and I don't know why I never got those. I started to expand a little bit more. Now my shin guard knowledge is growing slightly by the day. I'm going to review those soon too. So before I go into the actual review itself, let's go ahead and talk about the apparent differences on the outside, and I'll talk about the design differences that you'll see as we go through the glove. But as you can see here, the original Thai Original glove, we'll just call this the 1.0, is a bit of a wider, boxier glove. As you can see, it more of that box shape, and it's wide at the base too, and it has more of that Western style boxing glove strap at the base compared to this having more of that thin strap that is down here that most Thai gloves have, that conical shape where it kind of grows in size as it goes towards the top. You can see here it's more of a rounded top in the 2.0, whereas this is more of a flat top on the 1.0. The thumb is a little bit wider on the 1.0, and it doesn't curve as much up towards the fingers like this one does. Very slight difference there. Other than that, and the colors, there's really not too much difference on this and the design. The only big apparent difference that you can see here is that there's the big stamp in the center that says handmade in Thailand here, compared to this glove does not have that, and it has more lettering on the actual wrist strap itself. So besides that, not a whole lot of differences as far as overall appearance, other than this is a little bit more boxy and wider compared to this being a more compact standard Thai glove design. When we go into the actual model that I have for you today, I got these in the 16-ounce white and black colorway. They only come in hook and loop closure right now. Revgear does have some lace-up gloves like their S3 and their fight gloves, but those are different models entirely. These only come in the hook and loop closure. Most Thai gloves will. You can get them in 12, 14, and 16 ounces. And so that is your standard core 3 sizes. Perfect for anyone in any size. 16 is perfect for me. I'm about 255, 260 pounds right now. So 16 is my bare minimum. Otherwise, I go for 18 or 20s if I can. So usually 16s is for about 170 and above is the way I would say that. 145 to 170, you're going to be using 14. Or I'm sorry, 135 to 165, you're going to be using 14s. I'd say like 135 and below, you're going to be using a 12-ounce glove. But in this case, I got the 16s. You can get them in a couple different colors. You can get them in yellow, red, green, black, and white, I believe, are the different colors that you can get them in. I went with the white when they gave me the option because I had the white to begin with. So I figured it'd be good to try and be as close to the original as I could. But again, for your reference, for the rest of the review, this is the 16-ounce white coloration hook and loop closure. Why did that blur so much? Oh my goodness, there we go, that you can see here. Now going into the actual look of the glove, again, we have that really cool Arctic white at the top of the glove, and you have that classic checkered black and white look. You can see here on the back, it says Revgear, and that's a silver border for the black lettering, and that is actually stamped on, well, not stamped, but it's, no, stamped. That's the word I'm looking for. It's stamped onto the leather itself. It feels like a sticker kind of that's stamped on there. It says original under there. Kind of gives it that nice 3D effect when you turn it that way as well. You can see the rest of it is that really nice clean pressed Arctic white look, just like the original. When we go over here to the thumb, you also have that nice clean white, and then you can see you also have a webbed thumb just like the original as well. Although I remember the original Thai gloves that I had years ago actually had just a regular attachment, but they have developed this over the years as well. The tip of the fingers, as you can see, is also that nice Arctic white, but when we open the glove up, you can see here we have that nice black on the inside. The top of the glove has that really nice mesh palm. Same thing for that mesh palm down here in the middle too, and that's all black with black stitching too. You can see some of the padding out there is black, and you can see most of the lining is black as well. Now it says down here, it says Revgear, made in Thailand, and it tells you the exact size that you got, and it's right big and bold, so when you're punching someone in the face and their hands are facing this way, they know exactly what size glove that you're getting hit with, which is great. And it tells you again, this is handmade in Thailand, like everything in their Thai original model is. They also have that diamond here. I really don't know what that is by Revgear or why they switched to that, but you can see you have that diamond effect with the star in the center. I think that has something to do with California, but you can see here it has that star right there at the base of the actual wrist strap itself. The wrist strap is black and it has black piping. If you open it up, the Velcro itself is also black, so it gives you that really nice black on white feel. That, you know, black and white is one of the best color combinations, the classic, I guess you could say. Then on the inside, you have a tag that says made in Thailand, and I won't bother zooming in on that. I hope you take my word for it, because sometimes I have a hard time focusing on it. When we open the glove up, you can see here that we have some black leather on the base of it, and you also have some black lining on the inside, more of a grayish off of the light there. So it looks really, really good. Overall, really basic looking glove. Gets the job done. Now, when we go ahead and talk about the actual build of the glove, we can talk about the outside being made out of a very nice top grain Thai leather, and it has that really nice classic tie scent. The one thing I'll say that is an improvement from the original, you have much thicker leather here that is a bit more flexible and soft to the touch. The original had more of like a thinner leather. It didn't feel quite as thick as the 2.0 here, and it felt more like paper than it did leather itself. It was a bit thinner, still really good quality, but for me, I think the leather is definitely an improvement on the 2.0. Very thick, very supple, and you can see all the natural grain marks going throughout the glove, even though it's white as well. Now, top grain leather is the second best leather you can use. Full grain is what you take off of the animal itself and just use with the imperfections. Top grain, they shave all the imperfections off, and then they make it more uniform that way, so it's easier to stitch and play with. And the padding is actually able to breathe a lot easier too, because the leather is loose over the padding and it doesn't activate it. When the padding is activated, it becomes stiff. But you have that really nice leather throughout the entirety of the glove, which is really nice. You have that on the front of the glove as well, except for the the ventilation here on the palm, of course. But overall, the thumb is that really nice leather. The inside attachment is really nice leather. And even the inside lining here towards the base is actually the same exact leather that you have on the outside. It is not a synthetic leather at the base, whereas I questioned on the old glove if it was, because it kind of felt different. So I do think that they use really good quality leather, and I do like the feel of the leather just a little bit more than the original on this glove here. And it smells really clean, just like a lot of other tie leathers. It has a very nice like twins leather scent to it. It has a nice yokel leather scent to it, that nice clean crisp leather scent. Now when we talk about the padding here, it's kind of weird because with this one, in the original, in the 1.0, it felt really fluffy and airy, like there was nothing to it at all. It was very light. This one has a bit more heft towards the top, and the padding feels just a little bit thicker in this glove, and it feels like it has a bit more of a rejection when I punch. This had a very soft give that cradled my knuckles, whereas this kind of wraps around my knuckles and kind of gives me a dull thud when I punch. Still very protective, and you have that nice multi-layered high-density foams that is definitely different from most tie gloves that are going to use, say, the base layer is your EVA, the middle layer is your latex, and the top layer is that high-density open-cell foam. This still feels like it's more of a multi-layered high-density foam blend of like 3 foams, but you don't really feel like a thing like latex really snaps back at you in this glove, and it doesn't really snap back all that quickly. You can see that it takes a little bit for it to air out. There might be latex in the middle, but for the life of me, I just personally don't feel it nearly as much as I do with other tie gloves, nor did I in the beginning, with the original. I'm getting confused here, folks. My dyslexia is whooping my butt. But the padding definitely feels a little bit firmer, but by just a fraction of the amount, which is crazy because the leather feels softer and supple, more supple. The other thing about the padding of why I think it's just the open cell foams is because listen to that air escape. You can actually hear it coming through there. So it's a very soft foam, especially coming towards the base of the hand. And the other thing that's interesting is, I'm skipping ahead a bit, but when I put my hand on the inside, I can feel with my middle finger like up here, like there's a split in the padding here, almost like it's probably because they have that nice soft foam on the back of the hand and they're splitting where the seams are gonna go, but it feels like the padding is split down the middle of the glove, which is really unique. So I don't really know why that is, but the padding is still soft. It definitely feels like it has more of a firmer feel when I make a solid contact. Not bad at all, but it's not as light and airy as the original. So it does feel a little bit heavier on your hand than the 1.0, which is not the worst thing on the planet. So in general, that padding feels good. Just like a lot of other tie gloves, it's that one solid mold, a multi-layered mold foam padding. And you can see that it's split into 2 parts. And as you can see here, we got the top part here, and it does kind of contour towards the top. It's conical, meaning it starts out smaller, gets bigger, and it's very soft at the base. It's actually softer than the other one at the base here, and it's very soft up by the thumb. And it's a little bit firmer up by the knuckles. Still a very soft tie glove that you're used to, but overall, it's just a touch firmer by the knuckles. Still really good knuckle support, knuckle protection, really stops the shock from getting down to your wrist. So that's always a good thing that I really appreciate. So I enjoy that we have that knuckle padding there. overall, the mold foam at the top feels really nice, and it's much more protective than most Thai gloves that you will come across. Now, when we go over to the thumb itself, like I said, you can see that it's a little bit thinner compared to the original, which was just a touch fatter. Not the biggest difference, but you can definitely see it just a little bit. And that's not really a knock on the glove at all. For me, it kind of just makes it a bit of a tighter fit. And you'll notice that it is more kind of curved in here, similar to this one, but you'll see that this one kind of opens out. I'll show you, I'll press it against here. This one opens out a bit more. This one kind of opens in towards the top of the glove a little bit more. And I don't know if it was supposed to make the clinch a little bit better, but for me, just like a lot of other Thai gloves, it kind of has that really natural like opening feel to it. And the glove is still nice and soft in the middle of the knuckles to open up just a touch more than some other Thai gloves I've used that has more of a firmer foam in the center. This is a bit more of a nicer feel. So that's good. So the thumb is nice. The wrist support is pretty good, and that's where you see a bit of a difference in the glove compared to the original. The original had more of your standard Western style boxing glove wrist strap, that very thick strap that kind of fed to the inside here, and it still feeds to the inside, but you'll see it's more of that standard Thai wrist strap. Now, sometimes people don't like that because with a Thai wrist strap like this, it won't protect your wrist as much. However, because of the location of the wrist strap, it actually goes right over the big bone of your wrist, really clamping down and supporting it just as good as the original did. And this isn't quite as bulky as the original was. This is a much thicker, wider strap. This is a bit more of a narrower strap. It's about the same thickness, but it's more of a contoured base type here. That way you can really curve and get that nice solid clinch. The only thing is, most people will see this and get scared that the wrist support won't be that good compared to this one that didn't do that nearly as much. So is the wrist support worse in this glove? I wouldn't say worse if you know what you're doing, but I word it this way. If you're into boxing, that will be a huge turnoff for you. You'd want to go with something like that. If you're just doing punches, I guess is the way I would word it. But that's kind of up to your discretion. I still use these and they feel just fine on my wrist. I don't feel that much of a difference other than this is really more secure on the back of my hand and that it's kind of strapping more since it has that crease to fit into. Now, when we go ahead and open the glove up, just like the original, we have that nice mesh palm up towards the top of the fingers, and we also have it in the center. That's, of course, Thailand. It's a humid country. You want to be able to let it air out. Very good for maintenance as well. It's very soft on the inside, too. The grip bar, actually, there's a bit of a difference there. The grip bar in the original, I'd say, is like a little bit softer than this. This is a little bit more firm, but, I mean, there's barely a difference there. I'm trying to nitpick, and it just very well could be the model gloves that I have. We also have that same padding over here. This is where I notice a difference because the original had much softer padding over here. This is much firmer. I imagine that's to stop the impact and the shock from really getting through to your palm, catching kicks and punches. But the palm itself feels really padded as well. We have some breathe holes here on the thumb. Oh, I thought that's what I was looking at. I'm sorry. There's no breathe holes on the thumb. Why would there be with the palm? I thought that by the way the camera looked, it looked like there's a breathe hole in there, but I think my eyes just kind of played a trick on me. My fault. I was about to say, I don't remember them being there. But anyway, you got double line stitching over throughout the entire palm, and that's really to make sure everything's nice and intact. And I've never seen a stitch fray on this glove or most things that I've used by Revgear to begin with. So overall, really nice, good, comfortable palm that we have here. Nice and padded to keep you protected as well. The leather's very soft too. When we open the glove up, the Velcro is very strong. And again, we have that shorter, stockier wrist strap compared to this one. This one's a bit more of a fat, standard wrist strap. But as you can see here, the interior lining is that nice poly satin on the inside, like that nylon lining on the inside, but you have that nice leather. And again, that's where I don't think this is actually that synthetic leather that most Thai gloves will use. This feels like the same exact leather that is on the outer shell towards the top as well. Now, the one thing I will say, this glove does fit just a touch more naturally. That's the one thing I will say. It does fit the contour of my wrist just a little bit more and the contour of my fist a bit more too. But again, the one thing that is different compared to the original here is that this is a fatter wrist strap that covers covers more of a circumference of my wrist, kind of bracing the impact a little bit more. So my wrist does go back a bit more, my wrist does go down a little bit more, and I will say, although this is a bit more of a natural fit, it is a tighter fit on the inside, and I think that's because people in the Thai community, in the Muay Thai community, like a more compact, tighter fit. I personally do not. I prefer more of an open, so for me, I prefer that one for that, but it's the overall purpose of the glove itself. For me, still feels really solid. I can't really feel the outlines of my knuckles at all, so I have a really nice solid protective surface here, and on top of it, the padding on the back keeps my hand nice and protected from kicks. I've been blasted with these. Of course, they had shin guards on, but I've been blasted with these on, and I feel nothing. The only thing is without that big wrist strap, there is that risk that you have that little bare spot here with no padding or anything that could come in and kind of click right back there. And again, it does kind of put me into a nice natural fist position, but almost like it droops down because it feels a little bit more top heavy than balanced than this glove did. The 1.0 I think was a little bit more balanced. The 2.0 is a little bit more top heavy. Most Thai gloves are. But I think it's because they have that wrist strap here. I think they were smart with the 1.0 to kind of balance the glove out that way. It opens really easily, and again, I feel that nice split padding here, but for me, it still, like when I get toward the top, it feels like it's resisting me just a little bit. Not by much, but just a little bit. And it's not the worst feeling. It's definitely not the worst clinch I've ever had. But I will say, just as strong as the first one, when I get a clinch, I'm on and I'm not coming off of it. And that's the one thing that I will say about this. It grips very easily on the wrist, the back of the arms, back of the head, top of the head, and the neck. Everything about that feels good. So the clinch capabilities are good. And my fingers don't crawl out of this glove like a lot of other Thai gloves either. The other nice part is that there's still enough room on the inside of this to wrap your hands up nicely, and you can feel a nice soft padding towards the tips of your fingers as well, and it feels really good on the inside, and the lining is not that baggy at all, and it still has that really nice plush feel at the back here, like there's another pocket of padding right there on the interior lining, just to keep your hands even more protected. So overall, compared to the original, the 1.0 I should say, because these are the Thai original, it's a little bit of a tighter fit, you know, so if you like a more compact fit, that's more up your alley, and if you like more of like that classic Thai wrist, then that's definitely a little bit more up your alley than compared to these. But with that said, let's go ahead and go into the bag work, and then we'll come back with my final thoughts.
When it comes in the heavy bag with the Revgear Thai Original 2.0 training gloves, just like the first version, for me, what really shines is the padding. The multi-layered foam padding is very protective of the knuckles, and it helps you chain beautiful punch combinations together, and the weight distribution going into your clinch, which has very good grips, and on top of it, chaining into your knees and kicks is awesome. I love them for long Dutch-style combinations, and again, the clinch is great if you're doing more traditional Thai. On top of it, I would say the only differences that I really spot, besides the padding being virtually the same, is that the weight balance is a little bit more towards the front because you have that shorter Thai style wrist strap compared to the original, which had that fatter Western style boxing glove wrist strap. And I would say the padding is just a touch firmer, which doesn't really feel like there's any change whatsoever. It's just a little bit firmer, and you can feel that split down the middle. Overall, still a very light punching glove, and I absolutely love them. When it comes to anything by Revgear, they have that classic professional look to it, and it doesn't get much more professional or classic than a black and white or a white and black glove. And in this case, I think the white and black works perfectly. It's a very sharp Arctic white color, and it looks really nice on the back of the glove. On top of it, that classic Revgear logo. I think everyone's going to see these gloves and think that you're professional and you mean business with these gloves.
All right, folks, my final verdict here for the Revgear Thai Original Training Gloves 2.0 version is I really enjoyed using these just like I did the first one. Now, the only thing about a 1.0 and 2.0 version of the glove is that it basically is going to start coming down to my personal preference. And of course, the whole point of my reviews is my opinion on the glove and how I would recommend it to others. But it comes down to this. They both do virtually the same thing. There's just some differences in this that I might prefer compared to the original, and I might prefer some things that the original did compared to these. So it makes for an interesting review, especially when it comes to scoring, because most people would say, well, if they improved in some places and took some things away, then it kind of cancels itself out, right? You know, maybe, but the way I do reviews might be a bit different. I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and talk about, it's like everything else I do with every other glove that I review. We're going to be doing what I like about the glove, some things I would change about the glove, of course, what ties into the original, what's different from the original, and then we will go ahead and go into my final rating here. Starting with the things that I like about the glove, these are really good quality. Everything by Revgear is going to last you a good long time. I could definitely see these giving you a really solid shelf life of at least 3 to 4 years. And that 140 price point, 140 bucks for these compared to a lot of other gloves that are around that same price point that are made in Thailand is still out there. You know, brands like Yokow, Fairtex, Twins have gloves that will go from 120 to 140. So that price point is right there. Combat Corner has gloves that's more expensive than that even. So you definitely have some competitive options there at that 140 price point for Revgear. The quality is outstanding, very easy to clean and maintain, especially because of that vented palm mesh. The interior lining will be able to breathe out, makes the padding last a lot longer. The knuckle protection on these compared to virtually every other Thai glove I can talk about is very, very good. I think it's not as dense and spongy as a Yokow glove. I think it's about light and airy as a Twins, but it's even more softer, I guess. It's more like that Western style padding. Compared to the original, it's definitely denser and more of a sponge feel to it, but still a very light and airy Thai glove compared to some other ones. Again, the ones that come to mind is Twins for me usually. The other original one here, the 1.0, was a bit more lighter and airier, almost like it was a fluffy cloud that you were punching into. So this is still a soft padding. Really good protection for the knuckles, but definitely has more of a dense sponge foam feel on the inside of the knuckle too that keeps you nice, solid, and protected. So that's always good. The wrist support is still really good in these. I still preferred the wrist support in the original, in the 1.0 I should say, because I felt like the strap is just a little bit larger and it kind of stopped and braced my wrist a little bit more. But overall, for a Thai glove, I think the way that it straps around your actual wrist bone itself and braces it and puts that proper compression over it along with a set of hand wraps is really going to protect your wrists, especially compared to some other Thai gloves I can mention, like the Fairtex BGV1 is one that comes to mind, or you know, the other gloves that are out there like the Primos I didn't think had the best wrist support, back in the hand support. These definitely do for a top heavy compact glove, which is also awesome. The interior lining is very comfortable, and of course, if you like a tighter fitting glove, this does fit a little bit more compact on the back of your hand and the overall interior hand compartment than the 1.0 did. The 1.0 was more of a boxy shape, as you can see here yet again, and it was definitely wider on the inside for fat hands like me. I prefer more room on the inside, but for Thai gloves, I almost always expect that there's going to be less room on the inside because it's easier to contour to your hand and clinch too. The clinch capability is great in this glove. Really strong grips when you get them. It's great for MMA sparring as well, for big glove MMA sparring, of course, if you're being safe. And it's one of those gloves where I've really enjoyed using it. It's very light and very nice for bags, pads, sparring, everything. Protects my knuckles, protects my wrist, the back of my hand very well. Now, going into some of the things that I feel are drawbacks of the glove, the wrist support for me is just not quite as good as the 1.0. And again, because of this, again, you can see here that, you know, it braces a lot easier when I'm really bending this down here compared to the 2.0 where it just cracks. And some people might look at that and think, that's not as good wrist support. Thing is, guys, if you're into Muay Thai, you know Muay Thai gloves will always do that. I think they were definitely trying to make this more of a Thai glove than a Western style glove that can do Muay Thai. And I think that's what the first one was and why I loved it so much compared to this, because now it's more falling into that thing of, it's just another Thai glove like a lot of other ones. That's a bit of a bummer for me. I don't think I should really score it that harshly because it was designed to do that. So I can't really take too many points off it for that at all. But the wrist support for me, it's not quite as good as the 1.0 version. The knuckle support is just about as good as the first. The thumb is in a really good spot. It's a little bit thinner. And the other thing maybe that I would say I don't like as much is that it closes just as strong as the first. It doesn't open just as strong as the first. You kind of get to this point and you're like, and you're trying to open it as wide as you can, and it does resist you a little bit. So that's just a touch annoying. The clinch is still phenomenal in it. It doesn't mean that it's bad. Tons of other gloves do that, but I still think it grabs really well when you're going for a clinch. Overall, it feels really good. The lining on the inside's nice. Other than that, it's just the wrist support for me that I just think is not as good as, say, the Revgear Thai Original 1.0 version. I think that's the one drawback. The padding, I think, for some might be a little bit more protective. I think the other one was solid and protective, and overall was good for all sorts of sports, whereas this one I would recommend for MMA and Muay Thai exclusively. I would not box in these because of the wrist support. That would be my advice to you. The other ones, I would say you can box in them because of how good the wrist support was. The only other drawback, and I mentioned it in the other review as well, some Muay Thai purists, even in the United States, will only use a Thai brand glove. And I know that might sound silly for some, but some guys I know will not use Combat Corner. They will not use Revgear. They will only use brands such as Fairtex, Yokow, Boon, Primo, which was made in Thailand, Sandy, which is made in Thailand, Taismai. They'll use brands like that because they're based out of Thailand. They're made in Thailand. I think it's silly personally, but some people are purists and that's what they want. Who am I to argue against it? I personally think these are right up there with all the other ones. They were made in Thailand. In fact, you'd be shocked as to how many brands are made in the same factory and slap a different logo on it. Different with most of the bigger brands. They're definitely in their own factories, like Revgear's, a lot different from others too. But that's a different story. So this is the tough part, because now you're going to ask me, well, Al, how are you going to rank these? Because you gave the other ones a 10 out of 10 and they were an S tier excellent glove. And, I got to tell you, it's one of those times where I don't really know if they needed to make a second version. I don't think that they made the glove worse. I think they made it fall in line with other Thai gloves out there. And, made it more standard instead of unique to Revgear. And again, I can't knock points off for what the intent of design was. But if I had to still recommend them, they're still an excellent glove to me. I'm still putting them in the S tier because of the protective qualities of it. I'm just knocking a point off and putting them at a 9 out of 10 because the wrist support, excuse me. Wow. The wrist support's just not as good as the original. That's my one drawback to it, but it has pluses in some areas and it takes away in some others, and that's about it. It doesn't have that same sink-in feel. It kind of gives you more of a plush feel around the knuckles. So if you need something that has more of a puncher's feel, probably not the best glove for you, but still gives you really nice, good feedback, protects your knuckles really well, protects the back of the hand really well. Wrist support is still good, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as the 1.0. If you like a more compact fitting glove, definitely a better glove for you. And if you like a glove that fits more like a traditional Thai glove, this is the one that you would look at. They still sell the original on there, which I call more of a Western style boxing glove in a Thai glove shape. For me, that's like my ideal design, so that's why I think I like the 1.0 version just a little bit more. But it doesn't mean these are bad by any stretch of the imagination. These are just really good. It's just one of my, well, they're excellent actually. I recommend them to anyone to try, especially if you're looking at a Thai glove. I know it's Revgear and the branding might not be for everyone, but guys, Revgear makes some really good stuff and I recommend you look into them. Is this one of those things where, did we need a 2.0 version? Did you change all that much besides the leather? I do feel it's a little bit thicker, but did you change all that much? I don't know. So it's just kind of one of those things I have to look into. I'm excited about the shin guard reviews, though. I've been really, really digging those shin guards. I really enjoyed using these, and I thank Revgear for doing them. I hope my words are not harsh. I don't mean to sound disappointed because I'm not. They're really good. But again, it's just, I wonder... The first one was so good for me, maybe I just held it to a higher standard, I don't know. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I hope I answered all of your questions about these gloves. I try and be as thorough as I possibly can. That's why my reviews are so long, and you're probably thinking, Bald Man, shut up and tell me what you think about them, all those different things. But as always, please comment below of what you want to see reviewed next and ask me any questions that I might have missed about these gloves and if I compare them to some other ones. If you want them on an episode of Glove versus Glove, please let me know as well, as I'm starting to pick those videos up as well. I got a couple in production right now, actually. Also, please like and subscribe, as it goes a long way to help the channel. Almost to 14,000 subs at this point. We might even get there by the time I post this video. Who knows? I hope. But also, please do me a favor and hit that notification bell. That way you get notified for reviews just like this. And share this with your friend if they were looking into trying these out. Really good glove to try. But of course, I have a ton of other reviews on the channel that you're free to look through. So while you're here, click on my channel and look at some other videos and reviews if you're looking for some other gloves. Also, follow me on my social media pages. I am really active on Instagram, and that's about it. I got rid of the Facebook a long time ago. I post stuff to TikTok here or there, but I often forget. I usually respond to Instagram and email, so please go ahead and send me some message on there. I love to meet and talk with all you guys. With that said, guys, thank you so much for choosing your source of combat sports, The Combat Corporation. As always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.